The 206-bone skeletal system is the foundation for the whole body. The study of bones is called osteology. Bones give the body shape and strength, protect internal organs, provide a frame for muscles, and allow body movement. The skull is the skeleton of the head that encloses and protects the brain and primary sense organs. The bones of the skull are divided into two groups, the cranium and facial skeleton. The 8 bones of the cranium, which include the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal bones, are often referred to when hairstyling and cutting. The facial skeleton is composed of 14 bones. They are the mandible, maxillae, nasal, zygomatic, and lacrimal. Refer to your textbook for more information on the bones of the neck, back, chest, and shoulder, as well as the functions and structures of the bones in the arm, wrist, and hand. Myology is the study of muscles. There are more than 500 large and small muscles in the body, comprising approximately 40% of the body's weight. They produce body movements, shape the body, and aid other body systems such as the digestive, circulatory, and nervous systems. There are 2 types of muscle tissue. The first is voluntary or striated muscles, which respond to commands regulated by will. The second is involuntary or non-striated muscles, which respond automatically to control various body functions. The cardiac or heart muscle is unique and the only muscle of its type in the human body. It functions involuntarily. As a cosmetologist, your interest for massage techniques will focus on the voluntary muscles of the head, face, neck, arm, and hand. Muscles produce movement through contraction or tightening and expansion or relaxing. There are 3 parts to a muscle. The origin, which is the non-moving or fixed portion of the muscle. The origin is attached to bone or other muscle. The belly, which is the midsection of the muscle between the 2 attached sections. And the insertion, which is that portion of the muscle that is joined to movable attachments, such as bones, movable muscles, or skin. The scalp and face muscles are of primary interest to the cosmetologist for scalp and neck massages, as well as facials. Muscles affected by massage are generally manipulated from the insertion attachment to the origin attachment. The scalp is covered by a broad muscle called the epicranius, or occipitofrontalis. The frontalis extends from the forehead to the top of the skull. This muscle raises eyebrows and draws the scalp forward. The occipitalis muscle is found at the nape of the neck and draws the scalp back. The 3 muscles of the ear are stationary and have no recognized function. There are 4 muscles around the eyes and nose. The corrugator muscle between the eyebrows draws them in and downward. The levator palpebrae superioris, which is located above the eyelids, raises the eyelids. The auricularis oculi circles the eye socket and functions to close the eyelid. And finally, the procerus muscle, between the eyes and across the bridge of the nose, draws brows down and can wrinkle the bridge and nose area. Because your mouth is so flexible, it requires the power of 9 separate muscles. There are also 2 mastication muscles to open and close the jaws for chewing. Your textbook has a complete description of all these muscles. There are 3 main muscles of the neck and upper back. The platysma, which extends from the tip of the chin to the shoulders and chest. The sternocleidomastoidus, which is found along the side of the neck from the ear to the collarbone. It causes the head to move from side to side and also up and down. And the trapezius and latissimus dorsi, which cover the back of the neck and upper back. These muscles draw the head back, rotate the shoulder blades, and control swinging of the arm. The shoulder, chest, and arms have 8 main muscles. The pectoralis major and pectoralis minor extend across the chest and help to swing the arms. The serratus anterior is under the arm and is used to lift the arm and to help with breathing. The deltoid covers the shoulder. Triangular in shape, it helps to lift and turn the arm. The bicep is the primary muscle in the front of the upper arm. It raises the forearm, bends the elbow, and turns the palm of the hand down. The tricep travels the length of the upper arm to the forearm. This muscle controls forward movement of the forearm. The supinator runs parallel to the ulna. It turns the palm of the hand up. The flexor is found on the inside of the mid-forearm. It bends the wrist and closes the fingers. And on the inside of the mid-forearm is the extensor. This muscle straightens the fingers and wrists. The amazing dexterity and mobility of our hands are made possible by a number of small muscles that stretch over the fingers. Refer to your textbook for a listing of these muscles. The circulatory or vascular system controls the circulation of blood and lymph through the body. As a professional cosmetologist, you will use massage treatments that directly influence or stimulate this very important body system. The circulatory system is composed of two interrelated subsystems, the cardiovascular or blood vascular system and the lymph vascular system. The cardiovascular system combines with the lymph vascular system to maintain a steady circulation of blood. The heart is the center of the cardiovascular system. It's about the size of a fist, and it's enclosed in a membrane called the pericardium. Like a pump, it contracts and relaxes about 60 to 80 times a minute to force blood to move through the circulatory system. The heart has 4 chambers. The 2 upper chambers are called the right and left atriums. The 2 lower chambers are called the right and left ventricles. Blood is the sticky, salty fluid that circulates through the body, bringing nourishment and oxygen to all body parts while sending toxins and waste to the liver and kidneys. Blood is made up of red and white corpuscles, platelets, and plasma, which are referred to as blood cells. The red blood cells, also called erythrocytes or red corpuscles, carry oxygen in a protein called hemoglobin. As the red blood cells move through the body, they release oxygen molecules and collect molecules of carbon dioxide. White blood cells, also known as leukocytes or white corpuscles, have the important job of fighting bacteria and other foreign substances. When infection is present, the number of white blood cells increases. Blood platelets are responsible for the clotting of blood whenever blood cells are exposed to air or rough surfaces. The final type of blood cell is plasma, which is a fluid composed of about 90% water in which the red and white blood cells and blood platelets are suspended. The blood circulates through the body in 3 types of blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. Arteries take blood away from the heart, while veins take blood back to the heart. Capillaries are small vessels that take nutrients and oxygen from the arteries to the cells and also take waste products from the cells to the veins. This process of blood traveling from the heart through the body and back to the heart is called systemic or general circulation. See your textbook for a complete description of how this process works. Let's now look at the main arteries and veins that supply blood to the face, head, and neck. Blood reaches the face, head, and neck through the common carotid arteries. These are located on either side of the neck. These arteries split into the internal and external carotid arteries. The internal carotid artery supplies blood to the brain, eyes, and forehead. The external carotid artery branches into smaller arteries to supply blood to the skin and muscles of the head. All blood from the face, head, and neck returns to the heart through 2 veins, the internal and external jugular veins. The occipital artery supplies blood to the back of the head up to the crown. The posterior auricular supplies blood to the scalp above and behind the ears. The superficial temporal artery supplies blood to the sides and top of the head. The external maxillary or facial artery supplies blood to the lower portion of the face, including the mouth and nose. Be sure to study your textbook for a complete description of all the arteries and veins of the face, head, and neck. In addition to the cardiovascular system, The body's circulatory system has a second subsystem of circulation, called the lymph vascular system. Lymph is a colorless liquid that travels through lymph nodes or glands to filter out toxic substances like bacteria. It's formed as a byproduct when plasma passes nourishment to capillaries and cells. There are over 100 lymph nodes in the body that act as barriers to infection from one part of the body to another. When lymph glands combat infection, they swell and cause pain, especially the lymph glands in the neck and under the arms. Next, we will look at the body's nervous system, which coordinates and controls the overall operation of the human body. The study of the nervous system is called neurology. The nervous system is divided into three subsystems, which are the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system. The primary components of the nervous system are the brain, spinal cord, and nerves. The central or cerebrospinal nervous system is composed of the brain and spinal cord. The cerebrum, which is located in the upper front portions of the cranium, is responsible for mental activity. The cerebellum, which controls and coordinates muscle movement, is located in the occipital area directly below the cerebrum. The pons, which connects other parts of the brain to the spinal column, is located below the cerebrum and directly in front of the cerebellum. And finally, just below the pons, is the medulla oblongata. It also connects parts of the brain to the spinal column. The spinal cord is the second part of the central nervous system. It originates in the base of the brain and extends to the base of the spine. The peripheral nervous system is composed of sensory and motor nerves that extend from the brain and spinal cord to other parts of the body. There are two types of nerve tissue, sensory and motor. Sensory nerves send messages to the brain and determine our sense of smell, sight, touch, hearing, and taste. Motor nerves carry messages from the brain to the muscles, causing them to contract or expand. Motor and sensory nerves can also work together to perform a variety of functions. There are two nerves that have primary control over the face, head, and neck. They are the trifacial nerve and the facial nerve. The trifacial nerve is the largest of the cranial nerves. It is a mixed nerve, which means that it can transmit sensations from the muscles to the brain and vice versa. This nerve is primarily responsible for transmitting facial sensations to the brain and for controlling the muscle movements of chewing. The next main nerve of the face and neck is the facial nerve. It's the primary motor nerve of the face, which emerges from the brain at the lower part of the ear. Both the trifacial and facial nerves have many branches. A complete description of these nerves is found in your textbook. Next, let's take a look at the nerves in the arm and hand. There are 4 primary nerves, and all 4 are mixed nerves. These 4 nerves include the ulnar, which extends from the little finger side of the arm into the palm of the hand, the radial nerve, which extends down the thumb side of the arm into the back of the hand, the median nerve, which extends down the mid-forearm into the hand, and the digital nerve, which extends into the fingers. The nerves of the face, head, and neck are stimulated during facials and scalp massages. Massaging allows tight muscles to relax and fatigued muscles to be soothed. Full body massages and face, head, and neck massages stimulate sensitive nerve tissues to expand and contract muscles associated with the nerves. The last subdivision of the nervous system is the autonomic or sympathetic nervous system, which is physically part of the central nervous system. This system operates the respiratory, circulatory, digestive, and excretory, as well as the endocrine and reproductive systems. The digestive system breaks food down into simpler chemical compounds that can be easily absorbed by cells or, if not absorbed, eliminated from the body in waste products. Refer to your textbook for more information on this important system. That brings us to the excretory system, which eliminates solid, liquid, and gaseous waste products from the body. Organs of the excretory system include the skin, liver, and kidneys. Skin, the largest body organ, releases water, carbon dioxide, and other waste through the sweat glands. The liver converts and neutralizes ammonia from the circulatory system into urea. Urea is then carried through the bloodstream to the kidneys. The kidneys receive urea from the liver and go through a process that allows usable nutrients to be reabsorbed into the blood and waste products to be excreted. The respiratory system takes in oxygen to be absorbed by the blood and then exhales carbon dioxide, which is oxygen's toxic byproduct. Its primary organs include the lungs, which are spongy muscles composed of cells into which air enters when you inhale, and the diaphragm, which is the pump for this whole system. It's located between the chest cavity and the abdomen. It expands and contracts automatically to force air in and out of the lungs. Our last body system is the endocrine system. This system directly affects hair growth, skin conditions, and energy levels. Keep in mind that signs of fatigue or changes in hair growth may signal the need for medical attention. There are two primary glands in the endocrine system, the sebaceous or oil glands and the sudoriferous or sweat glands. Understanding how the body works is key to your job of keeping your client's hair, nails, and skin beautiful and healthy.